a school-age parent during COVID has been, well, interesting. Although we are thankful that kids are back in school in person and full-time, it hasn't been without complications. Anytime children show any symptom possibly related to COVID, they are sent home regardless of vaccination status and not permitted to return to school for 10 days unless they can present proof of a negative COVID test. Until recently, virtual lessons were no longer an option as they were last year. Last school year, the schools required my daughters to have a doctor's note along with a negative COVID test. I have a high deductible health plan, therefore those notes cost $150 to keep them in school. At the start of this school year, my 12-year-old complained of a sore throat, and though vaccinated and showing no other symptoms, was again sent home requiring a COVID test. It took me 4 days to locate her a drive-through COVID test along with the results. And we were told that we were fortunate because we received the last test at Walgreens that day, and even though others were scheduled like us, they were going to be turned away. Our daughter struggles with school, so missing this many days is very concerning. That same week, our school corporation kindly arranged a testing and vaccination site, likely sponsored by recent state funding provided to Indiana schools. However, so many kids were sent home within the corporation and not being able to locate tests that the waiting time at this site was hours. And as we know, waiting in line during a pandemic is not ideal. My name is Theresa McClain, and my persuasive letter recipient is the superintendent of Clark Pleasant Community School Corporation, Dr. Patrick Spray. My call to action is to incorporate rapid COVID testing within schools. The primary reasons for this action are faster access to COVID tests for both students and staff, to lessen school absences for both students and staff, and if possible, provide weekly testing, especially those non-vaccinated, for students and staff to ensure the safety of the entire school community. If schools had the ability to conduct rapid COVID testing, students displaying any symptoms could be tested immediately instead of sent home to locate a test, await results, and/or quarantine. Rapid antigen tests are fast, inexpensive, and easily performed outside of laboratories. Furthermore, it is anticipated that tests may be increasingly difficult to locate on short notice soon due to the cold and flu season approaching, and those symptoms are very similar to COVID. Regarding lessening absences, rapid testing in schools would allow both students and staff to safely stay in school. Many students are being sent home for any symptoms or contact tracing, told to test or quarantine. Most of these students do not have or contract COVID and miss necessary classroom instruction. Per a 2021 study by Young et al. Recently published in The Lancet, approximately 2% of school-based close contacts to COVID-infected individuals eventually tested positive for the virus, meaning that roughly 49 uninfected persons were quarantined per positive case. This does not include students sent home for simply being symptomatic, regardless of vaccination status and awaiting testing opportunity and the results. Plus, this also equates to many parents unable to work in order to care for their children or fear of spreading a possible COVID case to their work environments. Lastly, COVID transmission within the school environment will remain low if consistent testing is performed on non-vaccinated students and staff. Gillespie et al. Recently concluded a study of 2 independent schools that although school-age children can contract and transmit COVID, infection from in-person education was significantly lower than the surrounding community. Therefore, consistent testing would keep COVID out of the school environment. As mentioned previously, the opportunity to receive COVID testing and vaccination opportunities during the event held by the corporation in August was very much appreciated. However, there were exceedingly long wait times for both, putting the public at risk since many of those students were sent home due to COVID-like symptoms. If funding or staffing concerns exist despite allocated dollars at the state level, those can be researched further, but ultimately overall on-site testing may prove cost-effective. To reiterate, there are many advantages of providing direct COVID testing within our school community. Immediate access to COVID tests for both students and staff, limiting unnecessary school and work absences for students, staff, and in many cases parents, weekly testing for those not vaccinated to limit COVID cases within the school community. This concludes my video. Thank you so much for watching.